Hey everyone, it's Lee with Mantis Mechanics, and today I got asked what is feinting. And I thought about it and I was going to make a video about what is feinting, and instead I decided to go a different route. I'm sure there's a lot of videos out there that tell you what feinting is. Today I'm going to show you that there's different levels of feinting, and what works on a beginner might not work on someone more advanced, and vice versa. Something that works on someone more advanced might not work on someone who's a beginner, and that doesn't seem right? It seems counterintuitive. Why would a technique that works on someone who's advanced not work on someone who doesn't know what they're doing? And I'm going to show you that today using one technique, and the technique to illustrate this point that I'm going to use is going to be a low round kick into a spinning back fist. So let's get right to it. Different types of feinting right here on Mantis Mechanics. Now, first things first, you got to learn how to throw the round kick and throw the spinning back fist properly. If I'm throwing my round kick like this, telegraphed, that you're not going to be sneaky with this. And if you're hitting people with that, they're probably not very skilled, and you probably don't need to feint anyways. Same thing with the spinning back fist. If my spinning back fist is coming from way out here and I can see it, right, that's no good. I want to be able to hide it until the last second it comes through. So first perfect the round kick and the spinning back fist before you start trying to feint with them. So let's get to it. The very first feint you're going to use against a beginner. So against the beginner, we're going to get into our fight stance, and we're just going to throw the round kick, but we're going to throw the round kick as a throwaway technique, meaning that we're not actually trying to hit with, right? We're just trying to throw it out there to maybe get that beginner to think about it and maybe drop their hands, maybe react to it, maybe freeze, maybe try to move back, maybe something like this. We're talking about a beginner, someone with probably less than 6 months, maybe even less than 3 months of experience. That's what I would consider a very beginner. They could have more experience in that and still be considered a beginner depending on their athletic aptitude and how much they're practicing, how much they're going to class. But generally, below 6 months is going to be a beginner. So our first technique to throw this is just going to be to throw that round kick low, and we're throwing it, again, not to hit. We're just trying to get them to react. So we're not throwing it really with power. We're just kind of like throwing it out there. And I step, turn, spinning back fist. So the idea is that they react, they see that low kick coming, and they kind of drop their hands and kind of tighten everything up, and that allows that back fist to hit the head. So that's very first way to use this. This is a feint. Again, we're faking that round kick. We're not really trying to hit with it. If we do hit with that kick, it's probably going to stop our momentum to get that spinning back fist, so we don't really want to hit it. If we do, it's like a little tap that just kind of grazes through their leg or grazes through their thigh, right? We're just throwing it, boom, right into the next one. So that's your very first beginner technique. And I forgot to mention this, even if I'm an advanced person, I can still use that beginner feint on beginners. If I use an advanced technique on a beginner, it might not work because they might not have the experience and the aptitude to react properly for that feint to work. So let's move on to the next level of feinting. Okay, so level 2, we're actually going to have to set up a little bit. So for level 2, or the next level of feinting, you're actually going to throw that low kick. So you're in your fighting stance and you throw that low kick once, and this time you can throw it to hit, and you're just going to see what your opponent does. Again, this is probably someone with 6 months to a year, maybe a year and a half experience. Still not what I would call advanced, but more than a beginner. So they're going to react properly to this, right? They're not going to, when you kick, they're not going to like drop their hands and kind of tighten up and just like, right, like that. They're probably either going to check the kick, or maybe they move back, or maybe they try to move in on you. You're just gauging to see what they're doing. So you throw that kick, boom, you see, okay, what did they do? Did they try to check the kick? Did they try to move back? Did they try to move in? What was their idea? Did they try to catch the kick? What did they try to do? And then you're going to throw the kick again. But this time, instead of throwing the kick, you're going to feint the kick. So instead of throwing it, you're actually going to do a little bit of telegraphing here. You're going to bring your knee up and out at a 45-degree angle, but you're not actually going to throw the kick. This gives the illusion of a kick. When I throw my kick, I want it coming straight in and kick. So now, after here, I'm going like this, and they're going to give that same reaction, right? They're going to do, because they're not quite advanced yet, they're probably only using one technique to block, or not a lot of techniques, right? So they go to check the kick, or maybe they move back. So as you throw that feint, you're going to go like this and not throw the kick, boom, spinning back fist to catch them. So this is a little more advanced. On the beginner, you're probably not going to have to do this because they're just going to tighten up, right? If I do this and throw that fake kick, they're probably just going to, like they're so afraid to get hit. They're not used to the contact yet. They're uncomfortable. They don't feel, especially if they know that you're a more advanced person and they're already, getting nervous to spar you, that sort of thing. You're not probably going to need to use this. But again, on a more advanced person who's maybe more advanced than you are, you try this, they're just going to move out, they're going to block differently. They're going to move differently than what you expect. And that spinning back fist will be harder to land. So let's move on to the next level of the feint. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next level. Beginner level is, again, that last one, I just throw the kick, boom, and then I go boom and hit the right away, right? Because I saw the reaction. I know that that's probably going to be their reaction. This is going to be against somebody, again, maybe just a little over 6 months experience. But let's move on to somebody who has a lot more experience than that. Maybe they're up to 2 years experience. Maybe they've actually got an amateur fight under their belt. They're working hard at this. They're practicing hard. So they got some tools in their toolbox. So if you just go kick and then fake spinning back fist, probably you're not going to land that spinning back fist against them. They're either going to, when you first throw that first kick, they're going to block, and then they're going to recognize that fake, and they're just going to move out of the way and be ready for something. Maybe they don't know it's going to be a spinning back fist, but they're ready for something, and it's got a lower percentage of hitting. So this time, to make this more advanced and to sneak this out, I'm actually going to throw some punches in here. So I'm going to throw some punches, maybe a 1, 2, right? I'm throwing that 1, 2, then the kick. Boom. Then I'm stopping, right? Okay, I saw what was the reaction. Did they check the kick? Did they move in? Did they move back? Right? Did they drop their hand? If I throw the kick and then I throw a punch, did they keep their hands up? Were their hands down? What was happening? That's what I want to gauge. Then I'm going to throw a different combo. So maybe I go 2, 3, right? And then I kick that right kick. But as I go for that right kick, they're giving that reaction, boom, into a spinning back fist. So this time I'm masking my feint, or I have a bunch of techniques where I'm actually trying to hit. And in between those, I throw a fake kick into that spinning back fist. So I might go, again, 1, 2, kick, boom. See what their reaction was, right? Boom. Did they block? Did I miss? Did they move backwards? Did they try to catch the kick? Did they sweep the kick? What was their reaction? Right? That's going to be based on if I can actually throw this technique. So I go 1, 2, then the next one I'm like 2, 3. So now they think that's a different attack, right? I'm not doing the same thing. If I were to do that 1, 2 right kick again, on someone with 2 years experience, maybe an amateur fight, you might get them, right? If you're fast, if you're athletic, or maybe you're bigger than them, or whatever, you might get it, but it's a lower percentage. But now I throw that 2, 3. They think I'm on a different technique, and really I'm just using different punches to set up the same technique. So I go 2, 3, boom, spinning back fist, right? That feint into that spinning back fist again. Let's move on to our final level of feinting. Okay, here it is, our final level of feinting. Now, if you are going with somebody who's really experienced, right, who knows what they're doing, maybe they're even better than you, feinting is going to be hard because you're going to try to throw this technique. You're going to see them react, and you're going to imagine that the next time you throw that technique, that's how they're going to react. And a good fighter, a good martial artist, varies their defense, meaning if you throw a low kick against me and I check it, right? And then you throw another low kick and I check it, same thing, and I keep on bringing my leg high, well, if I've got any sort of experience, I'm just going to follow, instead of kicking, I'm going to follow through and sweep, or, you know, I'm not just going to keep on letting my leg get checked. So for this type of opponent, we're going to have to do something even more sneaky. So we're going to throw our punch, and maybe we throw 1, 2, kick, right? And we come back. Then we're going to move on to a whole different series. So now I have to remember that reaction. The 1, 2, kick. That's their first reaction is usually their most common reaction. If you're used to, for instance, for me, if someone throws a right kick, my common reaction is to try to catch that kick and sweep, right? And so if I go up against a skilled person who recognizes that, and this has happened to me before, where I go for that catch and maybe I catch their leg and maybe I don't get the sweep, or maybe I just get a hit off, but they log that. And then next time they kick, it might be the next round that they throw that kick, and I've caught their kick or went to go catch that kick and they faked the kick and went up high. Boom. Oh, now all of a sudden I get kicked in the head. Not good. But they logged that in their head. So the difference between a beginner and an advanced fighter really is how much information they can process, right? So now let's say I might be feinting for a different technique. So if I throw a left low kick, I gauge the reaction and I keep that in my back of my mind, like, oh, they did this, but I'm not going to immediately go to that, because a good fighter is going to vary their defense if you keep on doing the same thing, right? And so if you kick me, I might block the first time, right? Then I might just move out of the way. Then I might try to catch. Then I might try to sweep it out of the way. I'm going to vary my defense. Same thing if you keep on throwing a jab and I just move, right? Every time you throw the jab, I'm just slipping to the outside. Well, now next time, instead of throwing my jab like this, I'm going to throw my jab where your head is going, out to the side, right? If I'm advanced, I'm going to be 1, 2. I'm going to start hitting this way, because I know once you slip, you're not going to be able to come back. If I hit you with that jab, boom, now you're going to have to move your head back into the center, and that's that too is hitting you. If I can time that, I'm going to use that. And that's where the more advanced martial artists are going to take advantage. So again, I throw the 1, 2 kick, and then maybe I'm throwing different combinations too, throwing some kicks, right, whatever, testing reactions. And then maybe a couple minutes later, I throw, a 2, 3. But now, okay, I've thrown that kick. I knew your initial reaction is your most common one. So boom, and I can throw that spinning back fist and hopefully catch you. And to be honest, the spinning back fist, very hard to catch on a skilled fighter. You're going to have to surprise them with this. So this is why I chose this technique, because on a beginner, it's pretty easy to hit them with. On the advanced person, it's a little harder. So it really illustrates the point of the levels. Now, if I'm fighting a beginner, this is what I was talking about, where an advanced technique, it probably wouldn't work on a beginner, right? If I start going like, 1, 2, kick, and then I'm waiting and I'm like testing all sorts of things, I'm probably successful with most of my attacks on a beginner student. So there's no need for me to waste all that energy to set up that big spinning back fist. Depending on their skill, I might not even have to set that up, right? That's not a feint though. I might just, boom, throw that spinning back fist. And because that's such a devastating technique, it usually will end in a knockdown or knockout. So if you're throwing it in sparring, don't throw it with super bad intentions. That's not good for you. It's not good for your partner. Your partner probably will not want to spar you if you keep on knocking them out with spinning back fists. And if they don't want to spar, you don't get any better because you're not getting any practice in. So we don't want to hurt our partners. But that is why you wouldn't use this advanced feinting technique against someone who is maybe a beginner. Same thing, like I don't want to try to use that beginner, like just going right into here, right? Just do that. If you go to the best person in your gym and try that feint, try the kick, and you're going to see probably they're going to be a mile away. They're probably not going to be anywhere near that, or even worse, they're going to counter you real bad, right? Because that feint will not work on a more advanced person, usually. So as you become more experienced with this feinting level and with these things, you'll be able to gauge your opponent's skill level. Again, if I use a very advanced technique on a beginner, it's probably just wasting it, right? I should be working on using more simple techniques on the beginner, right? I don't want to overwhelm them either. Again, they're there to learn. I'm there to make them better so that when they get better, I get better, right? Because if someone starts sparring me and they're getting better and all of a sudden I'm having trouble with them, now I have to up my game in order to get even better. And that's really what it's all about. So it's not just about like, oh, I'm going to beat this person in sparring, or I'm better than this person. I always want to dominate them. I never want to let them get up, because that's no good for anyone, right? We both need to learn. So you always want to be able to analyze your opponent's skill level and use these different feint levels. And I just used the one technique, the round kick and the spinning back fist, but really all your feints, all your techniques, use them to the ability of your opponent. When I spar someone, I can tell right away what their level is. Whether it's, hey, they're not that good at all and I should go very easy, very simple techniques, let them work a little bit, to an intermediate person where, yeah, okay, I'm going to show them a little bit more, to someone like, more my level, right, where we're pretty even, then that's going to get a little bit more competitive and we're going to have a little fun back and forth, to someone who's way better than me, right? I spar people who are better than me too. That's how you get better. And something like with those, I'm going to spar that person a lot different than I spar the beginner. I'm not going to just, play around and let them work. I'm going to try to not let them work. I'm going to try to make it as difficult as I can for them, even if they're way better than me. This is what you want to do in the sparring. You want to be able to analyze your opponent and adjust your skill level to theirs. Okay? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for more. It really does help. And I'll see you next time here on Mantis Mechanics.